Hello there. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is a reset point in your day where you get to stop whatever you're doing and take a moment to explore how to receive your fulfillment by unlearning struggle. So I've been on hiatus for 2 weeks, and among many other things that I've been busy with, I have been very excited to receive the first advanced copies of the Receive Oracle cards that I've been doing Rise and Receives about. And so in case you missed my big reveal, this is what the card box looks like. And I know that the lighting sometimes makes it sort of bright. And this is what the cards look like. I'm actually going to put them upside down because you can really see how beautiful they are. These are the colors. And each card, I wonder if you can see that. Oh my goodness, it's so reflective. But each card has a topic, a receiving topic, a willingness mantra, and they're organized into 4 suits. This one happens to be the Receive Soothing suit. There's also a little booklet that has all kinds of receiving wisdom. So when you pull a card, you get to explore the receiving principles. And you have an opportunity to really practice in a fun and daily way the principles of receiving. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I help hardworking, goal-oriented people to receive their fulfillment and to really dissolve what we often experience as this kind of inner glass ceiling. Because what happens for many of us is we operate as human doings and over-rely on that because it's what we know. We know how to do versus human beings, which is this natural skill set that we have. It's productive, it's useful, it's powerful. But most of us have been so trained in being a human doing that if we actually stop all the doing, we're lost. And when we aren't fulfilled with our goals, dreams, and aspirations, we think, well, I need to work harder, which is actually not true. Doing is a very powerful set of skills, but it can only take you so far. And when you tap into the being skill set, which is about receiving simply because you exist, you start to tap into 2 aspects of fulfillment and manifestation: speed and beyond, or speed and surpassing that inner glass ceiling. So that's what we talk about here at Rise and Receive. And today we are doing a part 3 on receiving your purpose. I started part 1 and 2 before my hiatus, and today I'm circling back around. So this is the card of inspiration. Can you see it? Oh, I wish this were brighter. Oh my goodness, but it's truly beautiful. This is what the card looks like in the back. Okay, so I'm going to give you the willingness mantra first, and then we're going to unpack today's blind spot. So the mantra is, I am willing to discover the joy, purpose, and power of being me. So if you are wanting to know your purpose, if you're wanting to receive your purpose, you might actually think, well, what does being me have anything to do with my purpose? It has everything to do with your purpose. And so far in part 1, we talked about the provider blind spot. In part 2, we talked about the faulty focus blind spot. And today I'm going to talk about the hunter blind spot. Now, the hunter blind spot is one that I've talked about for other topics in our lives. And today I'm going to talk about something that I've never tried to fit it into like a 10-minute Rise and Receive. So I'm hoping for the best, that I can really convey the power of the concepts I'm going to talk about. Usually this is something that is an entire module in the Receive course. And there's a term that I coined. It's called Soulness. Soulness. So all of this is going to connect the dots as we talk about how to receive your purpose. Now, blind spots. Why do I talk about blind spots? Your consciousness creates your reality, which means that your point of view, how you see your goals, your dreams, your purpose, your life itself, is a really important part of your capacity to receive the fulfillment and manifest what you desire. Because your consciousness is the sum total of all of your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, expectations, sensations in your bodies, beliefs, life experiences. Some of them are conscious, many of them are unconscious. I love shining the light on all the things that are unconscious to you, because that terrain of your inner world is truly where cause begins, in the cause and effect of your life. You know, you'll hear about it in other types of circles like mindset. You'll hear about tools like affirmations and willingness mantras, which is what I offer, and visualization. Those are all tools designed to help you work with your inner world. The problem is that most of us have at least some, if not many, blind spots. So I'm really excited about illuminating a blind spot. And I define a blind spot as when your current point of view hides an essential insight. So just like when you're driving a car and you have a blind spot and you can't see the car that's coming, if you're operating and looking at your goals one way through this one point of view, but you can't see something that's essential, it's going to be something that prevents you or blocks you or has you get stuck around your purpose, right? But when you have your blind spots pointed out to you, now you have a new point of view, your consciousness shifts, and all kinds of things become possible. So because a blind spot is something that by definition is blind to you, I like to give clues. And so the hunter blind spot is the one we're going to talk about today. And here's how you might identify that this might be what's getting in the way of you receiving your fulfillment. Okay. You know that the hunter blind spot is active if you are kind of lost in what I call relentless seeking. Because that's what the hunter does. That's the doing model of power. The hunter, by definition, has to seek its target. So it seeks and seeks and seeks and seeks and seeks and seeks. But the blind spot to the hunter might be that while he's looking for this particular animal that he's hunting, and that's what hunters do, they focus on something to the exclusion of all else, they might not see all kinds of nuts and berries and edible plants around them that they could eat. So they might be going hungry, focusing on this woolly mammoth target, but because they're seeking, then all of this other food that's available is just not visible. And one of the modules that I teach in the Receive course, a very important part of receiving your fulfillment is that we shift from seeking to seeing. So if you're seeking your purpose, and the reason I wanted to do this particular series recently is because I've had so many people come to me and they're like, I know I'm meant for more, and I want to know my dharma, and what's my purpose? And they're seeking and seeking and feeling that longing and longing. Well, that's a very, very common human experience. So today we're going to talk about how to get unstuck when that blind spot, when that seeking mode just has hold of your consciousness, how to stop the seeking, and then what becomes possible to open the floodgates to your receiving is you start to become able to actually see what is already here, what's always been here. When you shift from seeking to seeing, then you open the floodgates, not just to your purpose, but to whatever you've been seeking. Okay, so that's the concept behind this blind spot. Now let me talk about what soulness is. All right, when it comes to your joyful fulfillment, there's a basic assumption that I always operate from with all of my clients, and this is based in all kinds of things, whether it's spirituality or metaphysics or even in religion. You can find this different paths. You can find places that this is illuminated. In art, in nature, okay, but this is the idea. It's the idea that wholeness is the nature of life. In other words, you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. All that you want is already here. But our minds will have us believe that it's not all here, that there's something missing. That's what gets us in seeking mode. By definition, that's what the mind does. And the mind is one of the most powerful aspects of the hunter mode. But the tree, which is the symbol for being and receiving, it's always whole and complete. When it's a seed, it's whole and complete. When it's a sprout, it's whole and complete. What it is, its true essence, is already here. So there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to find. It's just about embodying and growing and nurturing and then it expands and expands in presence and power. And that's how we are. So your purpose is already here. And it goes back to this affirmation. I am willing to discover the joy, purpose, and power of being me. So what is soulness? Well, soulness is when we get to look at the difference between the truth of what you are versus the experience of what you are. So the truth of what you are is natural wholeness. You're whole and complete, exactly as you are. You're done, you're cooked. That's the seed, it's already there, okay? However, if you are struggling, and that's what we're about here is unlearning struggle, is because you're having trouble experiencing your wholeness. The wholeness is already here within you, but how do you experience it? Well, how you experience anything, how you receive anything is you understand that experience is a feeling, it's a flow, it moves through you. I always talk about receiving is as if you are a space. And so for you to receive your fulfillment, you have to allow whatever is arising within you and through life to move through you, okay? That means you receive the do wants and you receive the don't wants. And as you get better at receiving all of it, including the things that are not so fun, okay, some of the pain, because pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, then you become an embodied invitation for the kindness of life, just like the majestic tree that receives all day long simply because it exists. So let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into soulness. What I'm going to invite you to explore, in other words, let's say you're shifting from seeking, you're willing to stop the seeking of your purpose and actually see what that's really about. Okay? We already talked about in the other blind spots that your purpose is not what you do, it's who you be. And the fulfillment that you seek is not something that you achieve, but it's something that you feel. Fulfillment is a feeling. You don't think fulfilled, you feel fulfilled. All right? So I'm going to invite you to consider that what the pursuit of your purpose is actually about is that you are longing to experience what you are. You're longing to experience your wholeness, and that experience comes from homecoming. So what does that mean? Purpose usually is when we are seeking, back to the other blind spots, the essence, the feeling of I matter, I belong in life. I know my place in life. I make a difference. The fact that I'm alive means something. It matters. That's what that longing for purpose, for being, I'm meant for more. It's the experience of your wholeness. Okay? So your wholeness is what you are, and your soulness is when you get to experience the truth of what you are. That's what soul is. Soulness is. It's the experience of that which you are. Now, how do we do this, right? How do we open the floodgates? Well, your consciousness creates your reality. So we have an opportunity to look at, if my consciousness creates my reality and I want to know that I matter, that I belong in the wholeness of life, you get to look at where in my relationship with me have I held some parts as if they don't matter, as if they don't belong in the wholeness of me. Well, we do that to ourselves all the time. We reject and judge and shame parts of ourselves. And when we have learned to rely on doing to get our sense of self-worth, and we've neglected and shamed and dismissed and banished the aspects of us that make us a human being, the feelings, the emotions, the sensations in our body, all of those parts of ourselves that we've learned to judge one way or another that we thought was unacceptable. And doesn't take much when you start to really welcome home and be willing to welcome home these parts of you that have been banished. You can look at what part of myself do I judge? I often hear things from my clients, and I've certainly been traveling this journey myself. It's not okay to be needy. It's not okay to be weak. It's not okay to not know the answer. It's not okay to be lonely, right? These are all aspects of our being that are held apart. As long as there are parts of you that are not allowed to be part of the whole that is you, you cannot experience your wholeness. Now, here's what starts to happen as people practice the very simple, life-changing 3-step receive method. You start to receive everything as sacred. Not selectively, but everything. Your feelings, your sensations, your wants, your needs, your preferences, your limits, all of you. And as you learn how to do that in a way that feels safe, as you learn to be the safest place in the world for you, and you welcome home these parts of you, you start to experience your wholeness. These parts of you start to find their belonging within you. And as you experience that within yourself, life rises up to meet you, and you receive all kinds of insights and awarenesses and opportunities that bring meaning to your life, that make you feel like you matter, that make you feel like you know you make a difference. Because again, I am willing to discover the joy, purpose, and power of being me. There is only one you in the entire universe. And if you don't fully own, experience, and express that, then life doesn't get to experience its wholeness. So that is what I wanted to offer you today around receiving your purpose, a very different way of looking at it than most people do, all right? Your purpose is to be you fully expressed, and you get to open up to the experience by welcoming home to the wholeness of you these parts of yourself that weren't allowed. As you do this, you start to awaken and experience to your purpose in ways that you can't even imagine, because it isn't through the mind, it's through the fulfillment of your experience, your embodiment, your expansion, and your expression. You become the majestic tree, fully embodied invitation. The mere presence of the tree is powerful beyond measure. It receives all day long, it does nothing, and it contributes to the world its offerings simply by standing and sharing itself. Life, the winds, the trees, the animals, I should say the animals, the birds, and the winds carry its offerings. It doesn't have to do anything, okay? So I hope you like this. Take this mantra. I know this is kind of deep. I know it might be a different way of thinking about it, but I can tell you from my own experience and clients who've taken on this approach, people tap into a sense of purpose and meaning and mattering, and then inspiration and clarity about what to actually do with that awareness and that feeling in incredible ways when they embark on simply receiving themselves. So if you would like your own Receive card deck, please go to receivecarddeck.com. You can pre-order now and get some special gifts that are available until the cards come out late April, maybe early May. And just check out the other links below. If you like this, please like, please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And click that red subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day. And our next Rise and Receive series is going to be about receiving support. Because here's a little hint. You cannot shift from surviving to thriving if you can't receive support. Because when you're in survival, you are the lone hunter. You are limited. Your glass ceiling is by what you can do on your own and figure out on your own. But when you open up to life being the provider instead of you, and you learn how to receive the support, that's where flourishing happens. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.